Welcome to Artists, Icons, and Entrepreneurs, the podcast that dives deep into the stories of trailblazers who shape our world. Claudia Macias brings over 25 years of experience in educational leadership and instruction, with a deep focus on early childhood literacy and community engagement. During her tenure with KIPP, Claudia founded and led 2 elementary schools, earning a proclamation from the City of Houston Mayor's office for her leadership in launching KIPP's second elementary campus. As an education consultant, Claudia has worked with respected institutions including Rice University's School Literacy and Culture, the University of Texas Health Science Center of Houston, and Children's Literacy Initiative, Philadelphia. She has trained, mentored, and supported teachers and parents across Texas and California, specializing in early literacy and language strategies for young learners. Claudia also reaches bilingual audiences as La Super Comadre Claudia, host of a popular online radio show and podcast on Radio Crystal USA, where she features guests with stories, passions, and resources that uplift and inspire. She is the creator of Lady Veggie and the Veggie Pals, a live children's performance series promoting healthy habits, and the author of the children's book I Love You Even When You Cry. Currently, Claudia leads instruction and innovation for the Brain Builders program at the Meadows Mental Health Policy Institute's Hackett Center for Mental Health. This evidence-informed 2-generation parenting curriculum strengthens early child development through increased bonding, reduced stress, and improved parent-child interaction from pregnancy through age 3. A native Houstonian, Claudia holds a Bachelor of Science in Interdisciplinary Studies from the University of Houston and a Master's of Science in Education from University of Houston Clear Lake. Her mission remains clear: to empower children, families, and communities through education, empathy, and connection. Please welcome to the podcast a powerhouse in education, a passionate advocate for children and families, and a true community connector, Claudia Macias.
So Claudia, on behalf of Artists, Icons, and Entrepreneurs and my co-host Sue Kokonis Hansen, we welcome you. You know, the last over 25 years, you have devoted your life to education and leadership. What first inspired you to dedicate your career to education and working with children?
Oh, that really hits me at my heart. But first of all, I want to say thank you, Lulu and Sue, for holding this space. And it's an honor to be here and to share. Wow. So I was born here in Houston, Texas. Parents, one born on this side of the border at a time when my grandparents came to pick crops. Then he went back to Mexico, came back as a 7-year-old because he needed to learn English. So his first language was Spanish. And then my mom's love language and first language was Spanish as well. So when they met and married, their love language, their home language was Spanish. So I ended up going to school, even though I was born here, learning, only knowing Spanish. So I had my experience in kindergarten wasn't all that positive at first. But I found myself, I remember an experience of standing in the corner for talking too much. Obviously, I get paid for
Can
talking
you imagine
now.
that?
I know.
I think I know that corner.
You know that corner? We were probably all 3 of us in that corner at some point. Like, what's up? So I remember feeling so embarrassed because I was put in the corner. And I remember being hit with those long 3-foot yardsticks. It didn't hurt. But what I remember the most is the heat rising in my neck and up my back and in my head and feeling so embarrassed. But I remember now, going back, lots of therapy actually, was that when I didn't know what was going on, I would, talk to my little friends that were bilingual. And then little by little, they got in trouble for speaking in Spanish. So they stopped helping me. And I was just talking to whomever. So I would get in trouble for speaking when I wasn't supposed to speak. So I carried that with me as I grew up, and people would ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And from 2nd grade on up, I always said I wanted to be a teacher. And then later I was really holding on to becoming a bilingual ESL teacher in the early 90s, when at that time bilingual education was going to be gotten rid of here in Texas. And I stood my ground and said, no, I'm still going to go into that major. And that's what has been the force, I guess, that anything that I've done in my life, and especially in education, was to make sure that students and families and communities didn't feel what I felt. And that helped with, form my path in my career education.
Well, you helped found 2 KIPP elementary schools in
Houston. Now, I'm a layperson, meaning I'm not from Texas. So, first of all, to found two schools of anything is incredible. But can you tell us, for those who don't know, what the schools are and then what that experience is like? What do you think makes those schools so impactful?
You know, I'm going to go back a little bit because I was the youngest assistant principal in Galena Park ISD, like to record. I'm still the youngest one that became an assistant principal after about 4 years of teaching, and then from there, I just I didn't know at first that I wanted to be a principal, but the opportunity came up, and for me, it was like, how do we make sure that people that look and sound like me are working in communities that need people that look and sound like me, that the kids need to see that, the community needs to see that, and especially with the language, right? And I'm a bilingual person. So that experience of being an assistant principal under the leadership of Ophelia Garza, who became an amazing mentor, about 2 years into my tenure as an assistant principal, she had already told me, hey, when I go into retirement in about another few years, I want you to take over this school. And I said, absolutely. But in the meantime, I came across an opportunity to open up a KIPP school. And what drove me that way was, number one thing is that when working in a charter school system, and this is one that was doing the things the right way, not the right way, but appropriate, making sure that budgets were being used the way they should, and kids and teachers and classrooms were getting what they needed. I love the idea of having full autonomy and being able to make decisions based on the population in front of you versus having to get a book system or math system or reading system that is just kind of blanketed to all the schools. Whereas here, we would look at who are we serving, what do they need, and how can we bring in the programs and the staff. So I was able to run it myself with the staff, of course, where I had the chance to really look at what was needed and bring in the people, the programming that my community needed. So that was the biggest thing. But I'm not saying that other schools, no, other districts, no, everyone's doing the best with what they have, right? But I just this was a path that crossed in an airport on my way back from California at the time when I was married. And I actually recognized one of the founders. He was in line to get on a plane to come back to Houston. He was coming from Las Vegas. I was coming from LA. And then I was like looking at him, and I'm like, oh, I know who that is. He's one of the founders. And then at that time, my ex-husband said, hey, well, why don't you go up there and talk to him? I'm like, no, he's probably not going to remember me. Well, so I had to fess up to something at that point. But I had told my ex, I go, well, I kind of dated his roommate, and his roommate was the guy that also opened up the KIPP schools. So I was a little embarrassed, but I'm like, well, F it. I'm just going to go like, hey, I don't know if you remember me. My name is blah, blah, blah. I dated briefly the other founder. He's like, yeah, I remember you. He probably don't remember me. But anywho, by the time I landed in Houston, 3 hours later or 2.5, we had exchanged information, and I was invited to an interview because I had found out that they were opening up an elementary version of the KIPP schools. And the KIPP schools actually stands for Knowledge is Power program. They had opened up in Houston, went on to New York. It's grown since then. But at that time, they'd only focused on middle school. My love has always been like early childhood and education. I'm like, what am I going to do with an eighth grader? I don't know what to do with them. They already know stuff. I like little ones. And so found out that they were opening up those elementary schools, and I was brought on board then to found the first one as like an administrator / teacher. And then I was trained to open up the second one for the nation.
Super.
So, Claudia, you have worked with major institutes such as Rice University, UT Health Science Center, and the Children Literacy Initiative. What has been some of your biggest takeaways from collaborating with these organizations?
Wow, seeing the immense impact one makes with an organization, and co-creating with teachers. Like, even though we had a program in everywhere I've been, how did I end up doing all this work was because as an administrator, I implemented those programs into my school. So when I then took some time to be a mom, I started working part-time, and then they heard, hey, she's no longer working full-time. And so they all snatched me up, and I was training and going to different schools, districts, and implementing and supporting teachers. And I guess for me, the biggest thing is seeing, early childhood, early literacy. What are the best practices, especially during a time when, even now, we see curriculum that is for older kids kind of being watered down and pushed down to the younger kids, and not really giving children those developmentally appropriate opportunities to learn at the level where they're at. So it was kind of like bringing back early literacy practices, supporting those teachers, going in there and giving them feedback, watching them, coaching them, and mentoring them. And I guess that's, to me, the biggest, I guess that answer your question, the biggest takeaway of working in those 3 organizations, because I experienced it as a teacher, then I experienced it as a principal, then I experienced it as a person coming in to train and then mentor the teachers like the way they mentored me. And I think that is so needed, especially when, when you're first year teacher, second year teacher, hell, I don't care how many years you've been there, you need support. And so that was my love. Because I would see the teachers that were assigned to me as kind of like my students, and I would want to make sure that they were learning, and I was guiding them, and and I was giving opportunities to mess up, and that's okay. One funny story is that one of my teachers that I was mentoring was doing a rhyming activity. So they were like, yes, itch. All right, now what happens if I put a P in front of it? The kids were like, pitch. What happens if I put an F with makeup words, right? An F in front of it, fitch. And then what happens if I put a B in front of it and the kids said, bitch? I was in the back taking notes like, oops. And then he was like, just keep. And she stopped and she looked at me. She was like, ah. And then I'm like, it's okay. Nobody laughed. They were pre-K kids.
Just keep on going.
But that was back in the day. That was back in like a while ago. The kids were just like, bitch, really loud. And that, and she goes, and I said, just keep going. And then she was so embarrassed afterwards. I go, don't worry about it. You know what came out of this? They can write.
Yeah.
And they understand that when you change the first letter and the sound, it makes another word. So don't worry about it. Just keep an eye on the letters you throw out. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
So I think the humanity of being an educator was also something that I wanted to make sure that the teachers that I supported and guided knew that, like, hey, you're human.
Yeah.
It's okay. Things happen.
Yeah. Claudia, we're all excited to have you on Artists, Icons, and Entrepreneurs, because you are also a podcaster and have a radio show. And I'm probably going to not say this correctly, but it's La Super Comadre Claudia.
Yes.
How'd I do? Not so
You did
good.
absolutely awesome.
But, it's wonderful because you try to inspire and connect your bilingual audience through stories. I think stories are so important. Stories are, to me, a great way of teaching and learning. So tell us about your radio show and podcast.
Sure. So, comadres come together to talk and share, uplift, and build community and be creative, whether they're comadreando, as you would say, or talking around a kitchen table, in the living room, at a workspace, wherever, right? And so how did that come up? Years ago, when a certain person who is currently in office got into office the first time, I was like, what can I do? I'm not running for office. I'm not ready for that. I probably won't do it until my kids are in college. Like, what I can go in March. Yes, I can become the person that can register people to vote. I can show up and pass out stuff so that people know who to vote for, how they're voting, what they're voting for. But I felt like there was something else. And I'm like, how can I reach the Spanish speaking audience, bilingual audience, about the importance of voting? So a friend of mine who I met years ago, who I hired actually as an assistant pre-K teacher, but then she's like, I can't do it after all. I'm like, no problem. Well, she went on to become an artist, like singing, acting, blah, blah, blah. Now she has the radio show that I'm on. Anywho, she's like, hey, I got this thing. I'm starting a radio show. It's online and I need you to do a show. I mean, we barely started talking again. Like we met, she messaged me on Facebook and she's like, hey, let's meet for coffee. I'm like, yeah, sure. She goes, I got this thing. You'd be great. I want you to give you an hour to talk. I'm like, what do you want me to talk? An hour? So long. Oh my God. And she had been following the work that I do. She's like, you
Yeah.
got lots of things to share. And I'm like, an hour is a long time. So, okay, let me think about it. Okay. So I thought about it over the week. I was on a Friday. And then it happened that I had a birthday celebration on a Saturday. And at the Saturday birthday celebration, I had turned 40, but I didn't celebrate it until I was 42. So anywho, so I just sent out a mass invitation. If anybody wants to go watch a movie with me and have drinks, I'm going to be at this movie theater at this time. We're going to get drinks at this place. And we went to go see Bad Moms. I think it was Bad Moms the first one. Loved it. So before we went into, I had about 20 something people show up from all sections of my life.
Yeah.
And nobody really knew each other. So then my friend who was starting the radio station, she goes, I got an idea. Let's make a big circle in the middle of the movie theater and let's everybody introduce themselves. That sounds great. So everybody introduced themselves and then we went into the movie theater. But as I was watching people introduce themselves, I was just like, wow, this is beautiful. These people don't know each other. The only common person is me. And look how they're connecting. And it was different languages, culture, religions, married, divorced, still searching for someone, you know, kids, no kids, laws, all ages too. Even though, you know, there were some younger people, younger than 40, and some older than 40. And I was like, oh my God, this is a show right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like super comadre because we're comadreando, we're talking, we're connecting. And that's how the show began.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
my 3 pillars were education, civic engagement. I forgot the third one.
Oh.
That was a long time ago. But it's still around stories, elevating stories, elevating resources, community members, elected officials, people ready for office. Because that was my big thing too, is making sure that I brought people that were running for office. Because that was one of the things I really wanted to, you know, have.
Yeah.
That person coming and saying, well, why are you running and why should we run? Why should we vote for you? So yeah, that's how that was the genesis, and it's still going. It's been 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Wonderful.
it's been amazing, and yeah, so I'm excited to continue lifting people's stories and journeys and connections, so that it's for the benefit of humanity. That's where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you know, I think I first met you. Well, I know the first where I first met you. I don't even know if you were properly introduced, but I think
No, it's okay.
yeah, the were. But I did see you at the in Austin at the Capitol.
Yeah.
With Renee Rodriguez and
Yes.
HBO. Is that correct?
NHPO.
In HBO. And something about you resonated. No, I met so many great artists. I met so many dancers, and I also met political people. You know, and I learned a lot about my culture, which I did not know. And so, you know, just you listening to you on the podcast has, you know, I told Sue, I said, you know, we got to have this woman on on our podcast. So anyway, because, you know, we featured not only artists, icons and entrepreneurs, and you're all of that, you know, everybody that we run across, you know, yeah, we are hairdressers by trade, but we have all different types of people on our podcast.
Yes, yes.
So, Claudia, you have also created 2 books, right? Or how many books?
Just one right now. Just one.
Okay. So you created a children's book called I Love You Even When You Cry?
Yes.
But what is this lady?
Veggie, the Veggie Pals.
Yeah. Why don't you tell the audience about that?
Oh my gosh. So I love singing. My background included singing, and not professionally trained, but just sang in a band in college. But it just turned out I discovered why my grandfather was always singing at all of our family functions. And you remember when those little karaoke machines came out? Y'all remember those?
Yeah.
those little party karaoke machines. Oh, I had them in my classroom as a teacher, and I always made sure that I had performances and the kids getting up to learn how to use their voice, not just to sing, but just to read a book or say today's the morning news, whatever. But just to get used to hearing their voice and being in front of people, public speaking. Well, I did not know that until I was in high school going into college that my grandfather was a performer. Like, I have found out that, I don't know if you ever heard of a singer, maybe you, Lulu, named Rigo Tovar. Okay, so my grandfather founded the group that launched Rigo Tovar's career.
Wow.
I had been singing since I was 5, and people noticed that I could sing and were always asking me to sing at different family events, just like my grandfather. But I would just, and it wasn't until I got to high school that I was, my friends told me, you should get into the talent shows. And so I would get into the talent shows and I would get selected and picked, and I won a couple of times, like, second place or what have you. And then I always pushed my parents, like, hey, I really want to do this. And my parents were always like, yeah, no, you're going to go to college. And then after you get your degree, you can do whatever you want. I'm like, I really want to sing. So behind their back, now, when I was in college, I joined a band, and they're still around, La Raza Connection. They still play. And before I joined the band, I had met someone who was looking for people for Star Search. Do you remember Star Search?
Yeah.
So I was getting ready. I would go behind my parents. I would get picked up by a friend, taken to a studio. They were working with me. But then it came down time for me to tell my parents because I was underage. My parents like, absolutely not. You're not going to do none of that. I go, but I really want to do. Nope. You can do it after you graduate from college, and then you can do whatever you want. Oh, okay. Well, they didn't know that I was also in a band. So when they thought I was studying for 24 hours, I was literally at U of H, leaving my stuff with a friend of mine who worked at the law library. And back then we had pagers. So he would give me a special code like, hey, your mom just called me at the library looking for you. So he would page me. So I had to find a payphone. Did I call her to make sure that I could like, did you tell her that I was like studying and I couldn't? Yes, I already told her everything. Because the only library that would stay awake 24 hours was a law library. And that's where he worked, my best friend in college. And so he covered for me. And then when it was time for me to go on tour, because it was the whole band and I was a backup singer, but he would bring me up to do covers. And then it was time to travel. I had already been traveling to Austin, but my parents didn't know.
Oh,
I would travel to Austin, San Antonio, but like on the overnight trip, but I was at my friend's house spending the night, and we recorded a CD and everything. And then we started getting gigs and more gigs. And at that time I was about to graduate from college, and it was rough. And then I graduated from college, and it was my first year of teaching, and I was still practicing after work on Tuesday, Wednesday, going to gigs on Wednesday and Thursday. I couldn't go out of town until Friday. And I would go out of town on Friday. My parents said I was at a friend's house. Anywho, because I still lived at home, and I didn't leave my house until I got married. But anyways, a whole nother story. That's a whole nother like hour or whatever you have for here. So then I finally said, okay, this is what I want to do. We recorded. I need, my dad's like, this is before I graduate from college. Absolutely not. And I even asked him and told him what I was doing at a family function because I knew I didn't want to get in trouble. So when I said, okay, everybody's here, I had, I don't know, it was Christmas or something. Yeah. I got an announcement to make, and my parents, they were like, what? So I told them, well, and I had the CD and I gave it to them. I go, look, this is what I've been working on. And we were going to start touring. And my dad was like, oh my God, my mom and I, we thought you were going to tell us you were pregnant. I mean, you couldn't even say hey, congratulations, no, oh, we thought you were going to say you're pregnant. And then absolutely not. You're not going to go touring. So, yeah. But anyway, so music has always been part of my life, which then fast forward to Veggie Pals. I had been out of music for many years. Only people I sang to were my kids, and they loved it. They thought I was like Adele one time. I would sing her songs at home when my kids were like 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and I was always singing to them. And then when they started paying attention to the radio, and the first time they heard Adele sing, they're like, Mom, you're on the radio. I was like, damn, that is a high honor, especially from kids. They'll tell you the truth. They'll tell you suck. I was like, oh, that's not me, but thank you. So then an opportunity came up. I was working part-time with all those 3 organizations, UT, RISE. I was all over the place. And then this opportunity came up to take a healthy habits presentation to schools. And so I got brought into this program and they told me just to look at it and see what you think. Man, that program was like, this is kind of boring. You want kids to sit there and just listen to you? And where's the papow?
Yeah.
You know? So we ended up with costume characters. We had a big dancing banana, big dancing broccoli. Lady Gaga was huge at that time. I took 3 of her songs, changed the words, put in the healthy habits into it. We toured every Head Start you could name.
Yeah.
We did a Head Start tour. It was a lot of fun. So we went to Head Start and did the show, Veggie and the Veggie Pals. So then I had dancing fruits and vegetables, and our message was, you know, drink water, choose apples and oranges over chips and soda, you know, exercise. So every of those topics had its own song. So it was a song about what you should drink, a song about exercising, a song about what you should eat for snacks. And then I had like a mystery box and the kids would come and pull out stuff like chocolate milk. What do you think? You know, water. Which one's the better choice? Water. You know, so just making it very interactive in music and dancing mascots. So that's what I did for about 5 years.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you're really creative because not only are you teaching through entertainment and music and activity, but you did write a children's book.
I did.
It's called Love You Even When You Cry. I love that title. And it's both heartwarming, very relatable. What was your inspiration into writing it? And what message do you hope children and parents take away from your story?
Wow, my girls at that time were learning how to, no, they were 3, 3 and 2. At night when we go to bed, I would give them, we would do affirmations. You know, I love you even when you hit your sister. I love you even when you yelled. I love you even when you didn't do it. I still love you. So we would do affirmations at night and we would say them. And then as it progressed to me writing it on paper, and then I would draw little pictures. So it's just on paper. We stapled the sheets. And at that time, they were also in school and they were learning that writing, that reading and writing process. And it was years. And then by the time my kids were like 5 and 6, it was stapled pieces of paper. And then they started coloring it and adding to it. And it became, it was a poem. It turned into a poem. Then we turned it into a book. And then one day my kids came home, my one, she said, Mom, at the end of it, when I was reading it, we need to turn this into a real book. I'm like, oh, what do you mean? She goes, and then she went to the shelf and brought her other books like this. I said, all right, so let's figure this out. So that's how they turned into words of affirmation. It turned into a poem. And we turned it into a book. Then they started doing their own little drawings. And then from there, we took it to get it published.
Yeah.
So now I have been working on I tell my teens now, I love you even when you roll your eyes. So that's the next one. I love you even when you roll your eyes. So I tell them affirmations like that. You know, I still love you even though you didn't pick up your underwear from the floor, but you still got to do it. I love you even though you left your dirty dish by the bedside, by the bed, but you need to go clean it. So I get after them and I still say that I love you.
Yeah.
But so that's what I'm working on now is as soon as I slow down. I love you even when you roll your eyes, the teen edition.
Wow, I love that. So, Claudia, you have devoted most of your life to early childhood development. Can you tell what you believe those first 3 years of a child's life is so important in their learning ability?
Oh, wow, there is a truck going by. You hear that? Okay. There's some periods of rapid growth in the brain. The first one is from birth to 3 years old. So the work that I do now as the assistant director of Brain Builders is pretty much taken everything I've learned through the 3 different schools that I worked with, UT, Rice, my experience as Veggie Pals, my experience as an educator in the early childhood schools, and then looking at the science of brain research, and then meeting a fellow mom who actually designed Brain Builders. And the program that she designed is a space for moms, parents of little ones between 0 to 3 to come together in community, either in person or online, and just pretty much like, hey, talk about parenting, we have guiding questions, and then they take away research-based brain building tips and strategies that they can use right away. So it's the idea of taking, doing what you can, and not, that it doesn't take much to support that development between 0 to 3, and also realizing that babies' brains are even learning in their sleep. So even though they're asleep, even though they're not speaking yet, everything they touch, see, smell, hear, taste, all of that is making those brain connections that is going to set the foundation for the future. So the more you pick up the baby, the more you rock them, the more you let them play with dirt, stuff, you don't have to do a big production or go somewhere. Just your home itself and a caregiver, a person paying attention to them and listening for their cues. Like, what are they interested in? Are they upset? Are they tired? Are they hungry? Do they need it? Are they bored of me and my face? Do I need to put them in another room? Do they need a nap? Are they sick? Like, picking up on those cues and responding lovingly and with words, the way you talk to them, the way you pick them up, all of that is what creates a strong foundation in their brain for future connections with their partners, with friends, work, and that they know. And I guess the biggest message, or what I would love, even from the book too that I wrote, it's about accepting your little ones as how they come. Like, I still love you even though you make a mess. I still love you even though you said a bad word to the teacher. I still love you if you knocked your brother on the head. I still love you. We're going to work on the action, but I still love you. And the same thing with what the work I do now is sharing with the parents. Hey, you don't have to do a lot. You don't have to go to Disneyland. You don't have to go buy out stores with early childhood development products. You don't have to download all these other things that they have for you online. That just you being there with them and picking up with their cues. And we call that serve and return. Like, what's the kid serving us? And how do we return that serve? Is the kid serving us a cry? Well, I need to be a detective. Why are they crying, and figure that out. And then also give words and language and the way you approach, because all of that is what creates a strong foundation for learning and for life. And I guess that's the biggest message is walking away with that and take advantage that even though they're babies and they're just little blobs, they don't do much, they're still learning. They're still learning. They're still learning. So that's what that's what we want our families to walk away with.
And is this kind of your role through Meadows mental health?
Yes.
Interesting. I'm curious as to, like all programs, how do you gauge your success? How do you know?
So at the beginning, at the end of each session, we have QI data that we give the parents, a short 3-sentence, 3-question survey. And that's how we collect our data. And that data helps us to make sure that we're doing what we need to do to make sure that they walk away with the takeaways from each session. Because there's 6 sessions in total and 6 themes. And so we make it fun and we make it engaging. But also our biggest thing is, are you taking care of yourself? Because being a parent is hard. Just like the way I would guide and mentor my teachers. Hey, you're human. If you didn't get the lesson the first time and you didn't get it down, it's okay. Try again. You're learning how to be a teacher, a guide for your students. The same thing with parents. We're learning how to parent. We don't come with instructions. Even if we did have lesson plans, the kid's going to do kid, So all you can do is just do your best. Here's the best research-based strategies and just try, but take care of you, because it's going to be a challenge.
That's so important, is taking care of you. Because, we all wear so many different types of hats and do so many things. I wish we knew about this program when Sue and I, back in the day when we were raising our kids. And now we see our grandchildren. And I have a little one that just has, my grandchildren are older, but my youngest daughter, I think she's 37, and she just had a a little boy that's going to be 2 years old, and she told me she was
Oh.
pregnant again. So,
Oh.
all these things that you're talking about today, I'm just so fascinated. Now I'm going to be able to take those things to the next level and to be able to use it. So thank you very much.
Yes.
So Claudia, you wear so many different hats, from educator to consultant to author to a performer and community activist.
Yes.
Looking back, what is your biggest and proudest experience that you've had with all the things that you've done?
Wow. When I had my girls, they were my guinea pigs. So everything that I learned and shared, even though you hear, yes, it's research based. Yes, we have the
Yeah.
data. Yes, blah, 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 blah. Yes, we tried it. But when my girls came along and I was applying those things, I'm like, you know what? This does really work.
Yeah.
And I think now looking back at all of the guidance and the performances or the stories, the support, whether I was an educator or a leader, a school leader or a consultant, now as a parent, you see that in the end, it's what makes all of it work. It's humanity and holding on to that as you parent, holding on as you guide people or support them in whatever role you have. The number one is now taking care of myself first. Living and all that. And that's one of probably one of the biggest accomplishments too, because I did wear so many hats that they were very heavy. And all of the hats that you name now, I don't wear them all at the same time anymore.
Right.
Those were different parts. So I've learned like there was a time and place for this, there was a time and place for that. And now was thinking about my girls and all the work that they're doing right now, juniors in high school. And they go to a great school that it's hard to get into. You get in by audition. But they're being challenged. And then I thought, sometimes I think, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? They're like, they can't even do extra stuff because it's just schoolwork, their art area, and then going to sleep with very little time or anything else. But all I can do is just share with them, look, take care of you, communicate. If you're behind on a project, let your teachers know, let me know, because you're number one. Because there were times when I was doing so much that I wasn't taking care of me. And so now I think that's maybe one of the accomplishments too, is that now I'm like, did I eat? Did I sleep? Did I take care of me first? And am I modeling that even for the parents that I work with now? Because I'm still working with families and parents, even with my own kids and with friends and family that I do community work. Yeah, because it takes energy. And I don't have a lot of energy like I used. My little, I don't know if I can cuss or not, but there's a book I read about by Mark Harmon, The Art of Not Giving an F. I won't say the whole word.
Yeah.
And then I saw a podcast about this woman talking about the book, saying that she had an F bucket.
Yeah.
And that she would carry her imaginary F bucket, like, okay, do I need to pull out my give a F or not? So that's where I'm at. Like, this is my energy bucket, my F bucket. And if I feel I need to, then I will take it out. And I do. And with someone, I've had to pare down on some, I was on a lot of boards. And then I had to kind of say, okay, my girls need me in a different way. I need me for me. And what is the work that I can do? Maybe it's just doing behind the scenes. Maybe it's I can do the invitation for you. Maybe it's I can show up and speak and do a presentation for you. Or maybe it's me directing something from afar. So I do what I can, because I was boots on the ground a lot, whether it was in education or getting people out to vote.
Yeah. I think that is such an important message, because Lulu and I are just that much older than you. We kind of came from the generation of, you're tired, you don't feel good, you this, that, the other thing. Well, just rub some dirt on it, pull your big girl pantyhose up and get her done. Well, you can get her done for so long, but sooner or later the bill comes due. And so there is that balance between work ethic, persistence, showing up, but also intertwined with wellness, health. And we know so much more today about women's health and nutrition, vitamins, all of those things. It's really, really important to have people like you that are sort of, our generation, we weren't given, I'm speaking for you, Lulu, but we weren't necessarily given permission to take care of ourselves. And so now we've kind of gone from, oh, you should take care of yourselves to, no, you have to take care of yourselves. And it's a message worth, echoing for sure.
It is. And even in my sessions that I do have now, and these are moms that are much younger than me, that's still there. They struggle with putting themselves first. It's like they give everything to everyone. This transcends culture, nationality, language. And that's a common thing that's still, and I'm glad that we're sharing this. It's just reminding each other to give yourself permission, give yourself permission to say, not today. They got like 10 volunteers. Minus one, it would have been 11 with me, but minus one, they're going to be okay. I'll just let them know, and I have, but we also have to balance, like, okay, is this something that I really need to be there? Like, that's different, but still, if I need to take out my bucket and give some F's, and how do I make sure that I create a little bit of space for repowering up, or what do we call that? Plug myself into a battery. But it's that. And now, am I doing that for my girls? I think they're the biggest mirror for me. Like, am I preaching what I'm telling my parents in the sessions, Because I can tell you, the way I do things, my girls are like, we want to go to that, Mom, but we're tired and we're going to stay home. And they even call me out sometimes. Didn't you already go to a working event? You're going to another one? Do you really have to go to that one? And then my partner, which you met, Angel Quesada, he's great at preserving his energy. He's like, do you really need to go to that? So I'm like, okay. I'm hearing it here. I'm hearing it there. There's no fire. They're going to survive. I'll just let them know, look, I can't make it to this,
I know one of my daughters always tells me, Mother, you can say no. I said, but I can't say no.
That's one word I don't think is in Lulu's vocabulary.
I know.
But I do exercise.
But her lips are saying yes.
I do
No,
exercise.
No, it's so hard. I mean, like I was like booked back to back to do outreach, and the last outreach I had on my calendar was to go give out candy to, at one of the organizations that I partner with. And I was literally out here at Cochinita in my car, taking a nap, and I had a smoothie that I probably shouldn't have had because it was like 3 hours old, but I was hungry. I drank it. I was laying there and I was like, oh, damn, what is this? And then I started feeling sick. And did you know I struggled to send my friend who's at this organization? Like, I was like, how do I write this? Okay, I'm parked here. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. I was like struggling. Like, why am I saying all this shit? Sorry. I'm like, then I finally just wrote an email that said, hey, apologies. I'm not going to be able to make it this evening. Hope your event goes extremely well. Keep me in the loop for future things. And then sent. But it took so much. Like, why? Why do I have to feel like I have to justify that I'm not feeling well? That's why I can't go to your event. Like, should I take a selfie of myself? Like, what do I do? But it's fine. It's like, it's all in my head. It's whatever I grew up with that is manifesting. And I've had to recover. And I'm still recovering.
We're all recovering.
I'm going to be hanging out with you at the VFW next time.
You're right. On Tuesday evenings.
Yes.
Yes. Well, Claudia, we have this thing that we do at the end of our show, and for some reason, it's like our audience loves this, but we like to ask 5 rapid fire questions, and it's an opportunity just maybe for the audience to get to see the person and not just the topic.
Okay.
So, are you willing to play our game?
Absolutely. I'm down. Here we go.
None of it are hard questions. They're all lighthearted. So, this is an easy one.
Okay.
Coffee at the start of your day, coffee, tea, or something stronger?
Oh, I just do hot water with lemon and honey and a shot of
Wow.
apple cider.
Oh,
Wow.
right on. Okay.
We're going to have to add that to the question.
Favorite children's book besides your
Oh.
own?
When Sophie gets angry, really, really angry.
Okay. It's good for adults as well. I assume.
Absolutely. I got that book because of my first kid. She was she's very assertive.
Yeah.
So
One word your friends would use to describe you.
I'm going to say it in Spanish.
Yeah.
Sentida. That means
Sensitive.
super feeling,
Sensitive.
super
Yeah,
sensitive.
emotional.
And super sensitive. Like, yeah, the breeze can't hit me the wrong way. What did I do to you, breeze? You know,
Yeah. What's the best advice you've ever received?
never leave Claudia at the door. Never leave Claudia. You belong in any room you walk into.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or as I like to say, nobody puts baby in the corner.
That's right. There you go. That's right.
If you
Yeah.
could share one message with parents everywhere, what would it be?
Take care of yourself first. Take care of
Those are-
yourself first. And
Yeah.
if you don't succeed the first time, you try something with your little ones, there's always the next day, and that's okay. Give yourself grace.
Yeah.
You're not a bad parent if the kid drops down in the middle of the store and has a tantrum. It's just what they do when they're two. It's not you.
Hmm. So
Well,
Claudia, where can the audience find you?
Oh wow. So you can find me on all social media platforms. From LinkedIn to Facebook to Twitter to Instagram. It's Claudia Macias. Anywhere you can find me, and on TikTok. And if you would love to join the listening of my podcast, it comes out every Tuesday from 7 to 8. And that's on YouTube and it's on Facebook. And so you can join in that way.
AM or PM?
And PM, I'm sorry. Yeah,
PM.
nighttime.
Right,
Yeah.
good.
That's when
Yeah,
I'm drinking.
Oh man, it's always on. We can always come back and watch it.
Yeah, I know. That's how I tried to look, but I couldn't see it.
It's all right.
Last night was not a good night. Anyway. God. So, Claudia, thank you so much for joining us on Artists, Icons, and Entrepreneurs. On behalf of my co-host, Sue Hansen, Kokonas Hansen, we thank you so much, and we'd like to probably have you again and see what your
I
next
would love
venture
to.
will be.
Yes,
Since
absolutely.
you wear so many different hats.
Yeah, and flowers.
And flowers. Yeah. Yes. So yes.
Yeah, I would love to come back, and thank you so much for having this, for
Well,
holding this
thank you.
space.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. You too.
Well,
Bye.
Wow, what an episode. That wraps up another exciting edition of Artists, Icons, and Entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you're leaving inspired and ready to chase your dreams. Don't forget to follow us on social media and subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode over at youtube.com/Artists, Icons, Entrepreneurs, as well as Facebook at Lulu Benavides, on IG at Lulu Benavides, at Evolve Hair Solutions as well. And don't forget to visit our website at lulubenavides.com and evolvehairsolutions.com to stay updated. Until next time, keep dreaming big, creating boldly, and making your mark on the world. Thanks for listening, and take care, everyone.